everyone, and welcome to Legal Matters, an informational and news call-in show devoted to legal topics of interest to you, the State Line viewer. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and with me is attorney Michael Crosby with the Crosby Law Firm. We have attorneys standing by now to take your call at the number on your screen, 815-397-2006. They'll provide you with free information on your issue. The call is confidential, so pick up the telephone now and call the Crosby Law Firm throughout the next hour. Again, that phone number, 815-397-2006. In our opening statement for this episode of Legal Matters, we'll be discussing wills, trusts, and powers of attorney, a great Christmas gift for your family. And in the second segment, we'll continue our popular You Want to Know question and answer session devoted to questions posed by you, the viewer, via telephone and social media. Again, that number is 815-397-2006. Lawyers are standing by now to take your confidential call. But before we get started, please note that the Crosby Law Firm represents thousands of individuals just like you. Just as our local hospitals handle a multitude of healthcare issues, the Crosby Law Firm can help you with a multitude of legal care issues as well. So pick up the phone and call 815-397-2006. The Crosby Law Firm has a Center for Divorce and Family Law, an injury department which includes auto and motorcycle accidents, as well as a slip and fall, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability matters department. Also a bankruptcy institute, an office for DUI, traffic and criminal defense, an advanced care plan and probate center, and a division for real estate, business matters, and more. So again, feel free to call and discuss any of these issues with the attorneys standing by. 815-397-2006. Lawyers are standing by now to take your call. Again, it is free and it is confidential. So now we'll start the show and we'll start talking about wills and powers of attorney and the importance of all that. And you mentioned that as a Christmas gift. How do you see that as a Christmas gift?
Well, I know it's not quite the Corvette under the Christmas tree or the fancy new furniture under the Christmas tree, but an advanced care plan, wills, living wills, powers of attorney are incredible documents that help a family. And so one of the best ways you can give back to your family, our viewers can give back to their family during the Christmas holidays and into January and throughout all of next year. Contact us regarding your will, your powers of attorney that will make your life and your family's life much more palatable, much more even keel. We're proud to provide the free consultations and to go over it all. And just as we approach the Christmas season, you and I had talked about the episode and the topic for this episode, and I just thought, and you thought, that wills, trusts, powers of attorney, great way to give back to your family, to be a good content, good practice area to discuss for the Christmas season.
Sure. It's really something to think about as you begin to wrap up one year and begin another one. Look a little bit to the future and make sure everyone is secure. But those individuals, those families who don't have these documents in place, and there are probably many who don't believe they need a power of attorney or need a will. What do you say to that?
I say to that, that's a catastrophe waiting to happen. If individuals don't have a will, if they don't have powers of attorney, and if they should pass or become disabled, the government will decide how their assets are transferred. They won't decide, the government decides. I don't know of anybody that would like that idea. Most of us want to make our own decisions regarding our family. If we're disabled, same thing. Government can decide by the government appointing a guardian over you. So I don't know anybody that would like that as an alternative. So these are critical documents, important to your family, not driven by your wealth, as long as you're 21. Whether you're paycheck to paycheck or you're wealthy, either way, these are basic documents that everyone should have. I'd encourage the folks out there to give us a call. Be happy to meet with them, talk about it in person, confidential, free of charge.
Okay, and the number to call is 815-397-2006. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. A couple of questions. You mentioned something in talking about wills and trusts and powers of attorney that the government should not be involved in this, and that's true. It should be strictly a personal thing. But why don't you talk a little bit about the very basic documents that are involved, the power of attorney, the importance of the will, and the importance of trust if they need to be set up?
Sure, good question. If the individual, through the help of the law firm, prepares their own will. The will specifies how your assets are to be transferred at your passing. If you don't have a will, the government decides. A power of attorney specifies who you want to take care of your health care needs and your property needs in the event you become disabled. Critical documents. And if you don't have the power of attorney, the government decides again. It can be by way of a court-ordered guardian to watch over you while you're incapacitated. So these are fundamental documents. I'd encourage our viewers to come in and see us. It's a free consultation. I'll walk them through it all the documents do. It's a wonderful gift to your family. Christmas time, New Year's coming up. Great way to start the new year and to end the old year at Christmas time.
Indeed. Young or old, rich or poor.
Absolutely.
Anyone should be involved with that. Okay, Michael, thanks. Great information there. Now let's move on to our rapid fire segment. It's time for the question and answer segment called You Want to Know. In an effort to protect viewer confidentiality, understand we only use first names. We may alter the location and the nature of the question somewhat. But I'd like to remind you that lawyers are standing by to take your call no matter the topic. Pick up the phone. The number to call, 815-397-2006. So, Michael, our first question comes from Nathan in McChesney Park. He says, I need to file for bankruptcy, but I'm concerned I'll lose my house that's almost paid off. What can I do to protect my home?
My guess is Nathan watched our last episode last month on bankruptcy and house foreclosures. If Nathan has a lot of equity in his home and he has a lot of other debt and he wants to save his home, he's probably going to be a candidate for a Chapter 13 bankruptcy that will enable him to manage the unsecured debt, credit card debt, medical debt, etc., and still save his home. If Nathan did not have a lot of equity in his home, then he'd probably be a candidate for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. This is federal law. We don't have debtors' prisons in America. There's things that we can do to help folks rid their debt, get a new economic lease on life, start over again. There's also things we can do, even if you're in a foreclosure, to help you save your home. So I'd encourage the viewers out there who are struggling with these financial issues, please give us a call. Happy to help out.
Okay. Question 2 from Susan in Freeport. She emailed the following thought. My daughter revealed to me she's getting a divorce after the holidays. As a mother, I'm concerned for the outcome. What are the main issues and some advice you could give in this situation? Terrible time.
Yeah.
Unfortunate situation.
Imploding the family unit. A lot of folks will think this way at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and begin this process with a new year. So I'd encourage Susan to give us a call. I'll be happy to discuss all the issues with her. Again, it's free of charge, the initial consultation. 5 basic things in most divorce cases, Alan, that everyone should be aware of. First, if there's minor children, that's number 1 issue regarding custody, visitation, child support. Second basic issue, property settlement. How does the family unit, if it's going to be broken up, husband and wife, how do they divide the assets and the debts upon a divorce in a fair and equitable way? Third main issue, are either the husband or the wife a candidate for maintenance or alimony? We'll go over that as well. Fourth major issue, what are the legal fees? What are the expenses attendant to a divorce? How long will it take? We'll review all that as well. And the fifth and final issue, which in many cases is one of the most critical, from the start date of the divorce to the finish date. We've done divorces in our office for as little as 30 days. Others have gone on for 3 to 4 years. Not our first rodeo. We've been at this for 40 years, almost 40 years. Do a lot of family law work. A critical issue between the start date of the divorce and the finish date, how do we manage things so that there's peace and harmony, not a lot of visceral arguments. It's called temporary relief. We've not gotten to the permanent resolution of the case, but temporary relief to manage things in the interim while the divorce is pending. That's the 5th issue of the 5 basic issues that most folks will have to deal with, manage throughout the divorce process. I'd encourage Susan to give us a call. We'll be happy to sit down with her and review all of that. She's in our prayers.
A lot of work that has to go into that, that's for sure.
Yes.
That's for sure. Michael, that's all the time we have, so thanks very much for your information.
Merry
It's
Christmas.
been very good. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
Have a great holiday
You
for
too.
you and your family. And that's all the time we have for the Crosby Law Firm. Legal Matters continues with Mark Bredesen and the American Law Firm when we come back in a moment. And welcome back to Legal Matters, everyone. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and with me now is Mark Brinison, the managing attorney with the American law firm. This is a half-hour informational news call-in show devoted to a variety of legal topics. We have attorneys standing by now to take your call at the number on your screen. They'll be able to provide you with free information regarding your legal issues. So call now and do so throughout the next hour. Our opening statement for this episode of Legal Matters concerns personal injury, as we've been talking with Mark for several episodes about that. The number to call is 815-394-1776. Lawyers are standing by now to take your confidential call. And Mark, again, thank you, and welcome to the program.
Oh, good to be here.
Especially in your injured state. I hope that you're doing well.
Yes, I was keeping my wife happy. I made a barn door to put downstairs in place of another door, decorative. And I lifted it up and tore a tendon off
And
the
there you
bone.
are.
Yes, and here I am.
Okay, but you're doing well.
Yes, I'm
Well, good.
right there.
All right, good man. Nice to have you here. We've been talking personal injury for several episodes, as I said, and Mark has written a series of books about personal injury, and one book he's written is How to Settle Your Own Personal Injury Case Without an Attorney, and we're going to be talking a lot of issues and a lot of questions about that, because you would think that most people would not even attempt to settle a personal injury case because they don't know the facts about it or even how to go about it. So naturally, an attorney will be the first place to go, but that's not always the case.
No, a lot of people, they think if I cut the attorney out the fee, I'll put that money in my pocket. And so they get into it and find out it's like, I'm taking your appendix out. When you make the incision, you get in there's a lot of stuff there. You don't really know what to do with it or what's going on. And so by the time you get to the attorney, they'll actually put more in your pocket, if not. But what I want people to know and understand is what you're up against, and if you do want to try it on your own, here's what you need to know.
Okay. One step. Should I settle my case at the scene of the accident? Should we not even get the insurance companies involved? I think that would probably be a question of severity of the accident.
Well, I'll tell you, never do that, because here's why. You don't know what your injuries are, number one. I've had cases where people come in and they just had a little soreness in the neck, and then after 3 or 4 weeks that soreness goes down into the shoulder, and then after another 3 or 4 weeks it's going down into the arms and the fingers, and they find out they have a herniated disc and need surgery. So it went from maybe a few rounds of physical therapy to a surgical case. Probably worth 10 times more than what it would have been. So you just never know. You need to get checked out and find and understand, what the full scope of your injury is. Then number two is you need to go around the accident scene and make sure you get all the information. Nowadays you got that cell phone so you can click pictures, because memory of the events will change to their advantage, and if you have the actual physical evidence, they can't really change the story away from what it really happened to benefit them. So yeah.
Okay. So even if you're on borderline about questions, it's always safe to check with an attorney.
Absolutely. Come in and ask, and get the book, try it on your own. I encourage you to try it on your own, see what you can come up with.
Yeah. Kind of a dare, is it?
Yes.
Well, did you know that you may be able to get money from your own insurance company to pay your medical bills?
Absolutely. And I'm talking mainly there's your own automobile insurance policy. On that policy, if your insurance agent's doing their job, they would have told you about what's called MedPay, medical payments coverage. What that means, even if you're at fault, your MedPay will pay your medical bills up to whatever you contracted, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. And if it's not your fault, it can pay your copays, so you're not out of pocket anything. So that's a potential source of paying your medical bills so you don't get hit with a cash flow crunch right up front. And a lot of people don't know that. But the other part too is when you're signing up for your car insurance, ask your agent, do you have medical payments coverage? And I would say go get about $25,000, $50,000 worth, because it doesn't cost that much.
I know, and I think even in some cases, companies will inform their clients about that and have a possible minimum as a limit, I suppose, of what they will carry.
Sometimes. And remember, insurance agents gets paid at the end of the year a bonus based on how many claims aren't made. So if they can eliminate that coverage, that's a claim that will never be made.
Will never be made, right there. Absolutely necessary. We talked about this. Absolutely necessary to record in detail everything for the record. No matter what the situation, whether it be an accident or a slip and fall, whatever it is, record as much as you can about it.
Yes, write it down. When you get home, write it down, because memories fade. details fade. A detail could win or lose the case for you. And if you have it written down, that's great. A lot of times when there is an accident, you know, you'll call the police, they'll come and they'll investigate and they'll do what's called a police accident report. In Illinois, it's called an Illinois traffic crash report. And you can get a copy of that official document that says who was ticketed, who was at fault, the whole 9 yards. And you need to get that. So if you're handling it on your own, that Illinois traffic crash report is invaluable, but it's usually not available till maybe 2 to 3 weeks after the accident, so the officer that investigated it can do his investigation and get it filled out correctly.
I mentioned a slip and fall, anything other than an accident. Is that still applicable there, or is that a whole different another
Absolutely. If you were, let's say you could be at a local, you know, Walmart or whoever and fall there, go in and report it. They'll do an incident report. They'll fill it out. They'll go get all the witnesses, put the witnesses' names down in that incident report. You may not be able to catch them, but they do. And if one of those witnesses saw the fall and what happened, and maybe they saw the employee sitting there mopping the floor and said, oops, I forgot my orange cone, when they're running out to get it, and then you walk by and slip, you have them to testify for you, and that makes your case. If not, and there's no video, well, like I've said many times before, they have the absolute right to lie their way out of it.
Okay. What should I do when the at-fault person's insurance company contacts me?
Well, number one, talk to them and be polite. They're probably going to ask for a recorded statement. If you're handling it on your own, they're going to want to get a medical authorization so they can get your medical records. They're going to want to get an authorization to get your employment records. Don't give it to them. You go get your medical records and you supply it to them. You get your lost wage statement, you give it to them. Don't let them have these authorizations, because they may go back to your birth date to get every medical record, and they'll see every medical issue that you've had, and they'll use it against you. So don't give them the ability to get all that information. You provide it to them.
Okay, and we've got a lot more with Mark Brenneson coming up in a moment. Don't forget, lawyers are standing by for another half hour after the show airs. The number to call, 815-394-1776, and we'll be right back with the American Law Firm after a break. And welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Alan Jones. With me, attorney Mark Brenneson with the American Law Firm. You're watching Legal Matters, an informational and news call-in show devoted to a variety of legal topics. Attorneys are standing by now to take your call at the number on your screen, 815-394-1776. They'll provide you with free information on your legal issue. The call is confidential. Pick up the phone now and call the American Law Firm throughout the next hour. Again, the number 815-394-1776. Now, throughout the first segment, Mark, we talked about people can do this on their own. But is it reasonable to assume that people should do this on their own? Talk about settle or work with a personal injury case. Well, is that reasonable to assume they should?
It goes back to the example I gave in the first segment. Take your own appendix out. Would you do that? There's a commercial on today where the guy's doing a self-appendectomy.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. Even in medicine, you have specialists, subspecialists. You got a family practitioner, but they can't do a heart bypass surgery. Same thing is true in law. If you try to do this on your own, you're dealing with professionals in the insurance industry, the claims agents that know just as much as the attorneys do. And it's an uneven playing field. So for you to be successful, you may settle the case, but in my experience, you're going to settle it for way less than what the value of the claim is. And I've had that happen. I've had people come in many times that they've taken a settlement, they've signed a release, and I've looked at it. In fact, we had one come into the firm probably about 4 months ago, looked at the case. Case was, they settled it for, 28 grand, and the case was worth probably $70,000 or $80,000. So you do
That's
it at
kind
your
of an awakening, right?
Yeah,
there
do it at your own risk and peril. But understand, my goal in writing this book is understand what's there, but also understand what it takes to have a successful settlement. And most people can't do it on their own.
Okay. We've gone through some of the questions here. Another one, what if an insurance adjuster asks for a recorded statement? I think you kind of answered that question already, but obviously it's not something you should do.
When you're doing it on your own, that's sort of a double-edged sword, because a lot of times they'll come back and say, we're not going to give you 1 cent unless you give us the recorded statement. If you have an attorney representing you, I can say, no, I'm going to sue you and go to court and get it to the jury. They know you can't do that. You're not trained to do it. Just like you're not trained to take an appendix out and survive. You're not trained to settle a personal injury case and get a good result. And giving them a recorded statement, you may have to do that if you want to do it, if you want to handle a case on your own. If you're with an attorney or with me, very rarely will I ever do that.
Okay. And the advantage, too, is in most cases there is a free consultation.
There's a free
So with a
consultation.
lawyer, so-
Come in and see us. And like I've said so
Yeah.
many times, we'll take a look at the case. We'll look at it. If it's not one that we should be involved in, we'll tell you, but we'll also try to help you with the claims process, give you a copy of the book. But come in and ask.
You mentioned the claims process. What about the property damage claim? What should you think about that?
My experience is most insurance companies always lowball it. And here's what people should do. There's a book out there called NADA, NADA, www.nada.com. I don't like to get involved in the property damage claims because if I take a fee out of that claim and I get 1/3 of that claim, of the total settlement, you can only go buy 2/3 of the car you had. So what I like to do is help you understand how to value that property damage. And the key is, if you go to NADA, you can put all the data in there and find out what the value of your car is. Then you can go settle up with the insurance companies, and most of them recognize that. But go with what's called the retail value, not wholesale. Wholesale's trade-in much less than what retail. Go with the retail value.
How much would they pay for property damage? That's got to vary.
And that's just it,
Yeah.
wholesale versus retail, but do you have a lot of rust in your car? Was it in cherry
the
mint
quality of the
condition?
car.
That's right. But the NADA, all the questions it runs through will make you answer that question, give you a true value.
There's one question that has come up before that dealt with medical bills. And I know that people think that, once they get a settlement offer or get a settlement from a trial or from the insurance company, their troubles are over. But yet, if your insurance pays your medical bills, you have to pay them back.
Yes.
So that's something that they really need to consider.
Yeah. When I practiced in Virginia, they had what's called anti-subrogation statutes. So what I'm going to explain you couldn't do in that state, or Texas, or other states. Here, if your health insurance pays any part of your medical bills related to the personal injury claim, if your car insurance or medical payments coverage pays any part of it, state law in this state says that you have to pay them back what they paid. And sometimes that can be negotiated down. If you have an attorney, the ability to negotiate it down, especially with medical payments, is going to be absolute. Medical bills, that's a little different, but you can still negotiate it down generally. If you're on your own, they're not going to budge 1 inch because they know you can't go to court and force it down their throat. So that's one of the disadvantages of trying to do it on your own. But at least you know that trap door by reading the book.
Okay, so check it out. Contact
Yes.
Mark Brunison at the American Law Firm.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you much for your time. And we'll be turning back with a final statement in just a few moments. Once again, lawyers from the American Law Firm standing by now. Take your call, no matter the topic. The advice is free at 815-394-1776. We'll be right back.
Legal Matters has been brought to you by the Crosby Law Firm and American Law Firm.
Let me close this episode by encouraging you to pick up the telephone. Call the attorney standing by. And because of the high volume of calls, attorneys from the American Law Firm and the Crosby Law Firm will be taking calls for another half hour after the show ends. So if you get a busy signal or you go to voicemail, just keep trying or leave a message and either law firm will contact you the following business day. Thanks for watching Legal Matters. We hope you found it informative.